Hey everybody, welcome back to Pure Joy Paper Crafts. Today is the coveted day, the day we've been waiting many months for. Today we're going to talk about I'm going to show you how I make all of my little mini albums. So let's go ahead and get started, and I will walk you guys through this one before we get started on the tutorial. Alright, so if you guys have been around for a little while, you have seen I've been making quite a few of these little mini albums this year, and I will let you digest the next however long it takes for this video to be ongoing. But I'm just going to walk you through this one, and then we'll go ahead and get started through with the tutorial. So this is just, super simple construction, which obviously you guys will see, but we've got our ribbon tie closure. These are flowers I ended up pulling from my stash to get this done. What is different from this tutorial is I decided to put pockets on the covers and then put my little extra little goodies in here. And I did end up having to pull some ephemera from a different collection. So these like little sticker bits are off of a sticker sheet. These are my pullouts. There is a little bit of a typo on the pullout measurements for you guys. I think they ended up being 5 5/16, not 5 7/16. So when you guys see that later, I'll try to remember to put it down in the description box for you guys, just so that you know, but I did do that wrong. I ended up changing it. If you want to use these side measures, just used whatever little cut parts I had left and added these little strips on the spine. There's my other little pullout. And I didn't do anything fancy. I just matted them, and I tried to not do, I usually don't do a bunch of like ephemera in these. Also, I just didn't have the ephemera for this collection, so it's just not what I did. You can see I matted some of these on my scratch black cardstock, but I didn't do all of them. I just figured whoever ends up with it, they can decide to whatever they want. So just a few of them that I left, and then I turned some of these into little booklets there. So I did not do, normally I add like something to the back cover, like I'll add a little ephemera piece. Again, I didn't have any, so I didn't add any, but I would normally put a little ephemera there, and that is how the spine turned out as well, which all those measurements are correct on our little, oh goodness, little bit at the end. So let's go ahead and get started. I need to glue this back on. But let's go ahead and get started with the tutorial. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. So when I do these little base situations here, I always take my measurements, so you can see that I have 6 by 5 5/8, and then 1.5 by 5 5/8. Of course, you decide to make an appearance. And so I always want to just know my size, and then to be able to do the pages. So I probably should have written on this one too. So the page that we're going to do is with the L-Hinge. So we've got the L-Hinge here, and you can do this all with one page, where if we do it this way here, we'll be able to, we'll cut this all out, and then we will score and so on and so forth to then fold this up. And then I'm going to make this one a side loader. You could always change it to be a top loader. So I'm actually working on a project right now with the exact same kind of design as far as cutting these pages out. So I've got this here, and this one I sealed it on this side, and then it will top load up here. So you can do the exact same thing no matter what your goal is. You just end up deciding where you kind of want this extra little flange. So that's kind of like my base scenarios. I just decide, okay, obviously I need this chunk, I need this. Do I want it to open to the top or to the side? Once I figure that out, then I work on my measurements. So our book here is 5 5/8 tall by 6 this way. So I always take the height exact. So our pages are going to be 5 5/8, and then I trim 1/4 of an inch this way, so off of the width. So I always sit and look at this and kind of map it out and then do my math here. So and I actually got this from Michelle Allen. I'm fairly certain it's Michelle Allen, and I will link the tutorial that I got the pages from for the L-Hinge from her for you guys. I've been linking it every single time somebody asks what the L-Hinge is, and just what it means by the L-Hinge is that when you have this and then you fold it, it makes an L here, and that's how we attach it on instead of having to do like the accordion situation. So I just gave you guys a ton of information. We will walk through all of this. It will always be different, and that's kind of why I wanted to talk to you guys through it, because this one, like I said, it's really awkward because it's 5 by 5/8, whereas the one that I am working on over here, sorry, I have it all like stacked so I can take care of it. This one is 6 by 5.5, and so I would do the exact same process. I just kind of wanted to talk you through how to do the math, because this one, like I said, it's a little bit easier, but 5 and 5/8, it all ends up working out the same in how we kind of do this. So we always have 1/2 and then a quarter, and then you can see I have 5 3/4 for my width, and then this height is a little bit rough. It does work out really well because I know I want it to be 5 by 9/16. I don't know why I have 5 and 9/16. It should be 5 and 5/8, but we're just gonna roll with it because oh, I think when I measured the spine, it was off a little bit. It wasn't exactly 5 and 5/8. So since I know this one fits, I'm just gonna roll with this one. So 5 and 9/16. This is 1. So this, my diagram here, this square is this square. And then I wanted another 5 and 9/16, and then my 1/2 is my little flange here. So again, it's not the happiest of measurements, but I think that drawing it out like this, and you guys can see I literally do my little math on the bottom, helps a ton. So let's talk about doing this. So I grab my cutter here, and so you can see I've got my vertical and my horizontal. So these are the two measurements I'm going to use to get this big rectangle done. So we're going to go to 6.5. And then I'm going to cut it this way to 11 and 5/8. And I know I'm a little bit out of screen, but it's going to do the job. So 4.5. Don't listen to my math little brain here work. So 11 and 5/8. And then 11 and 5/8. Okay, and I always do mine like this so then I can save paper, not that it necessarily matters that I've got this little chunk here. But what I do is, cut that off. I toss this extra piece, so this is my no good page. I keep this, and I'll show you guys why. So hang on to this. So we've got our situation here. Got our little buddy here. Okay. We are going to go ahead and do all of the scoring all the way across. So on my 6.5 side, okay, and I have this here because I'm truly following this right now. So I've got my 6.5. I want to score down at 1/2. So I'm going to score this whole thing. So I score by 1/2, and then I'm going to go over just 1/4. And I don't do the adding, so I don't say, okay, I'm going to go to 3/4 from here. I go, okay, there's my 1/2. I want 1/4 gusset. So I just go over 1/4. Okay, and because we want this to be side loading, so our stuff's going to go in this way, we're done with our scores for this one. So I've got my half hinge that will attach, my quarter L, and then here's my 5 3/4 for my page. Now I'm going to turn this. Okay. And then it doesn't matter which side you want to go. My scoreboard's a little funky, so I always try to stay as close to the upper left-hand side as I can to do this guy. Now, if my math had been done right, we would go to 5 and like 9/16. My scoreboard doesn't have 16ths, and if you guys can tell when I did my mock page for this, I don't know if you guys can see, I've got a score line right here that was what I had intended for it to be folded in half, but it wasn't exactly, because we want these to be exactly half, so we want this to fold and meet right here in half. So it's like I said, close-ish. This is way more closer to like 6. I think I did all my math right here. We're gonna find out. Anyways, I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. It would have been prettier if I would have had a score line on it, but it is not going to work. Okay, I'm just checking that I'm doing this right, because I did this a couple days ago for like my mock pages, and I just want to make sure that we're still on the right page here. Okay, so we've got our 1/2. This will make more sense if I do it this way. We have our 1/2, our quarter. So this, like I said, this is the exact picture. This matches this. This is my little gusset. I've got my 5 3/4 by roughly 5 9/16. We'll measure it here in a second, so you guys have the actual like metric. And then down below is my other box and my 1/2 inch to be able to make it a pocket. So all of this right here, all of this stuff can go. Okay, so all these little boxes can go. I know doing this on black is not great, but it will work. So, like I said, we have this way is 5 3/4, and this way is 5 should be 5 9/16 here ish. So I did do my math right. Can you guys see that? Jelly roll is like not having it. Try a different one. That one doesn't like us. Let's try this one. Wow, my jelly rolls are like not having it at all. So obviously I'm taking suggestions for new, there we go. Or not. New jelly rolls. Oh, there we go. 5 9/16. There we go. 5 3/4 is this way. Okay, so there we go. That's apparently what I needed, was that one. So we're gonna go ahead and burnish this a little bit and get a better crease going on. You guys can probably like see my watch is in here. It's the best way I have found to be able to check that I am in the screen. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all of these off. And I just follow the lines. If you want to be more precise, you are more than welcome to use your trimmer. I just find that this is quicker. And I tend not to make it too terrible. All right. And again, I'm just going to toss this. And then we need to do some more scoring here. And I'm actually going to leave our measurements visible, because I love these when I go to mat. And I will include that as part of this video. So if you want to see how I did all of it, it will be there for you. So there we go. Hang on. Yeah, we're okay. Just thinking about a top loader for a second. All right. Okay. So now we have 2 of these. So like I said, I just went through, folded all of the score lines. This is our little hinge to be able to attach to our page, and then be able to have a pocket over here. So, and I don't adhere any of this until I decide what kind of flips and flaps I want. So this is my basic construction for my page. So I have 2 of these, and you are a little off there, buddy. We'll trim that. Like I said, this is my basic construction. I like to do this and not attach any of it until I decide about my flips and flaps. So I'm going to keep bringing this little guy over because it's the most accessible. So like I said before, this one is a top load. So you can see my L-Hinge. Here is my top that I will put an insert in. I like to come through and decide what kind of flaps I want. So on this one, I have 2 that go this way. I also do like this kind of scenario in them too. If you've watched a couple of my other videos, sometimes I'll just do one little flap that opens up, or I put little pockets in the bottom. So that is why we kept this scrap piece, so that we could make some flaps. So notice that this one is a little, black was probably not my best plan for this. This is a little skinnier than the page, so we might get lucky. Might be the exact width though. Looks like it's pretty dang close to the exact width, so we could always do an extra little side, and I think that's what we'll do. We'll just do it a little bit shorter than the page. So that is again where my little scrap paper comes in. So we know that our pages are 5 3/4 by 5 9/16 inch. And again, that's why we left this. And I always do this little fun diagram here to help myself out. So if I want this to be the same as this, we're going to want it to be 5 9/16 tall. And then we want 5 3/4, but we want to have a 1/2 inch hinge to attach it to this onto, so that we have a little flippy page. But if I want it, so that would be the exact covering as if I did 5 3/4 plus the 1/2. But since I want my pages to be just a little bit shorter, I'm going to go ahead and leave them at I'm literally making in the moment decisions right now. 5 3/4. I actually think I'm going to do 5 1/2, because 5 1/2 would leave me a little bit here plus the 1/2 inch hinge. So we're going to go 5 by 9/16 by 5 1/2 is going to be my width. So then we will score at 1/2. Yeah. On the 5 1/2 inch side. So that'll leave us a 3/4 inch little flappy over here when we do this. I hope I'm making sense, because I feel like I'm kind of just like flapping at you guys, but we'll see here. So we wanted 5 9/16 in height. So this will be the right way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I think this is actually exact. So this page looks to actually be 5 9/16. And then we wanted to do 5.5 and 5.5. Because I just make my signatures to be the exact same. If I'm just doing these little albums like this, I do not think that hard. I literally just go copy, paste, rinse, lather, rinse, repeat. So we've got these, which I already forgot. I should probably be writing on them for you guys as I go. And I know when I do this, I'm like out of frame. So these are my 5.5ers. Which makes this 5 9/16. And this will all get covered up here when we mat. So then when I go to score this at a 1/2 inch, it will actually be 5 by 5 and 9/16. So put my 5.5 inch up here, come down and do my halfers. So we are rolling, and I apologize if it feels like I'm going really fast. I'm just trying to get this done for you guys because I know a few people have asked about it. And like I mentioned before, I feel like explaining to you guys my system and how I kind of think through this for my varying base lengths will help you be able to do your own. So we've got our 2 little flappies. So now we will be able to attach them onto here. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna have to do a little trimming. Because this one looks like it is bigger. And that's why we just dry fit everything. Yeah. So, and then like many probably other crafters you have seen, I just attach everything with a paper clip while I am working. And what I will probably do, because these will go on the inside like this, and then you'll flip, and then you'll see it again, and you'll flip, I'll probably add some little pockets down here. So again, that's why I keep these, because I had 2 12 by 12s. I had this left over. So we'll probably do 5 3/4, 2 inches. So because this is not 5 3/4 this way, we'll do 5 3/4 this way by 2. So I'm going to go down over to 4 because I want 2 of them. Down to 5 3/4. 5 3/4. And like I said, the way I cut is just me being stingy about my paper. So now we have 2 and 5 3/4 by 2. Dang, these pens are like not having it with me today. And like I said, I will just put those on the bottom like that and had just some cute little pockets back there. And that's really all I do is I just make these very, very simple. So that it's just like all put together. That is just like the basic, like I said, way I construct the bases. I'm going to stop talking at you. Just kidding, I might not. This is just, okay, I'm losing my mind here. I can't decide what I want to do. Those are all the cuts that we need. And this is, like I said, this is the base of it without putting it together. I'm going to walk you guys kind of through how I decide to mat, I guess. I am going to use this collection, which you guys have already seen it because the beginning of this you'll have seen. I'm just doing it a little bit backwards for filming purposes if this all works out, fingers crossed. This collection called Welcome Fall by Cartabella, and it is from 2022. I am going to mat this all in gold, and I always double mat because I'm crazy. So again, this is where my little scratch paper comes in. So every page, this is a bad example. Every page I take the measurements on it. So I call these my flap pages. Okay, and I just break this down and I write it out. So I have a 5 by 5 and 9/16. I have become really favorable of the 1/16 border. I used to be a 1/8" border person, but it just has changed over time. So I prefer the 16ths. To be able to do a 16th, you just subtract an 1/8 off of everything. So 4 7/8. And if you don't like the 8ths, do all of your stuff in halves and quarters. I have a degree in mathematics, and this does not bother me. So, like I said, it doesn't bug me. Every now and then I do kind of screw it up, but these numbers don't look gross to me and they don't bother me, so I just go with it. And I can also do the conversions really quickly, so it doesn't bother me. But you'll have multiple measurements because you're going to mat and then you're going to do your pattern paper. So I always go through and I write, this is my base, this is my mat, and this is my pattern. Because I like to just sit and cut everything, and you'll see that because like I said, I will film the whole process for you guys. I just like to go crazy. So if you don't want to do pattern, you would just use these measurements. If you're going to pattern and mat, then, or double mat, this is what you would do. But like I said, I just subtract 1/8, subtract 1/8. These were in 16ths, so I had to take 2 numbers off of this. Anyways, I feel like I'm teaching math right now. But that's just what I do. I go through and I write all of this out, and then I sit and cut, and then I mat. So I will go ahead, walk you guys kind of through this. I'll give you all my measurements at the end. I'll write it all up nice and neat, at least for this one. And I'll go ahead and I'll give you guys this this album too that has the nicer measurements. So if you actually just want to duplicate, you can use these measurements instead. I'll include all of it at the end when I'm done. And I'll leave it so you guys can like screenshot it while you're watching. But I think that's everything that we need right now for the tutorial part. And I will include the inserts. Gotta write myself a note. Because I always wait to do the inserts till the end, see what kind of scraps I have left over from like this stuff, and see what kind of fits into it. So I will include the sizes for all of that for both of these albums, so you can have the ugly size that I selected for this one that I actually decided to do it on, and the nice size for the other one. But we'll go ahead and I will stop talking and we'll put this on time lapse and you guys can watch me finish putting together this album. Okay, y'all didn't ask, you don't know, but it has been 2 months since I filmed the beginning of this tutorial, and so the ending of the construction part is kind of a bit of a lie. We're not going to time lapse and go through all of this good stuff just because I have been working on trying to get all of this put together for you guys. And so I just like, sorry, I'm trying to get my watch to sync up while I do this video. So I can make sure I'm in frame for you guys. What the heck is happening? Sorry, going on like 5 different levels, but there it goes. Okay. I put together a bunch of this album already. I've already made all my choices. I did all of my matting and putting it together as far as like it's all pieced and all we have to do is the construction piece. So I just kind of want to walk you guys through the rest of it. I do have the pretty layouts for you guys as far as you guys being able to screenshot stuff. So if you want to duplicate, that is all done. But I just figured it would be fun for us to go ahead and put the rest of this together since it is fairly ready to go and all we need to do is like slap it all together. And I think it will help you understand the construction better because I did just watch back the tutorial piece. So this is, I guess, like tutorial part 2 if you're still a little bit confused. Anyways, everything's all done. I just wanted to show you guys really quick. Obviously, I have stuff all laid out. I did go through when I did my matting and all my measuring. You guys saw on those little scrap pieces that I had the measures like all worked out. When I go through, I wasn't lying. I sat down with all my gold paper for all of my gold matting, and I cut it like crazy so that I had a stack of it. And I labeled it as I went. So I knew what went with what. And that has also helped me as I've decided what pattern paper is going to go on stuff. Like, because I have picked up this project many times and like worked on it and then said, I don't want to do this. I don't want to film this. And so I just didn't. But, and there's some boo-boos in here that we're going to have to fix. So I just figured it would be good for us to kind of do it together. So, that's what we'll do. So I have the first signature here. As you guys can see, I've got my paper clips on them. We're going to go ahead and take them off and finish kind of putting this little guy together here. So here's my flap with what I decided to put on it. And I actually, because of my boo-boos, when I cut stuff, I decided to rearrange the way I wanted to put these together. So, I don't remember what I was doing. Anyways, so here's my flap. Here's my actual like base on here. I am going to go ahead and put my flap to the side for a second. I'm going to go ahead and glue. I never did it. That's the one I want on the inside. Glue my little flappy flap down. And I do prefer to use score tape. That's just who I am and how I choose to craft. And I'll give you guys a little trick here for your score tape. If you choose to use score tape, it's probably better if you use wet glue. So if you don't line these up quite right, you won't oof it too bad. But what I like to do is I like to take a little bit of it and only take part of my score tape off. So then when I go to fold this over, I can actually, make sure it's aligned where I want it. So I can see that I got it nice and straight. Oh, and I just boo-booed. Okay, I already boo-booed. Before we do this, we should have run wet glue down this side because this is going to be a side opening album. And I only have one flap and then the fold. So I should have run some glue along my little line here. We'll do the other one better. And I am going to wet glue that guy. You guys would think, oh, there goes the light. Y'all would think that I haven't crafted in a while. Fix the light here. Because of course, after work, it's dark, and I have to have the light to craft, or at least to film. I can craft in the dark if I want, but we'll see how long that holds up. Okay, now we can go back to our score tape scenario. So, now I'm lost. Okay. So now you can just pull this like a little pull tab, and I suggest that you like kind of flatten this as you go, because the only issue I have with this is if I do it kind of willy-nilly and then like just press it down flat, I end up kind of with this awkward like bubble, and I want it, I know I do it with a little flap. I do it with the little flap so that this is gusseted and it's not super tight, but sometimes this ends up being really loose, and so I don't prefer to do that. And see, now I can see, need to do a little trimming right there, because this is not flush. But I cannot apologize enough for how long this tutorial has taken. Like, the fact that we're using fall paper should tell you how long this has been going on. And it's December, so that's good job, good job. I just was dragging my feet because I knew it was going to take a while. It was not going to be a good, fun, short video. So the base construction is at least like now put together. So I've got my little pocket. And what I will do now is actually, I think I'm going to go through and at least map my patterns onto my gold so that they're not flapping around anymore. So that we've got all of this situation going on. But anyways, filming a tutorial is just kind of a pain in the booty. Nope, doesn't go that way. Goes that way. And I just knew it was going to take me some time, and sometimes I would just rather actually do some crafting. And I've just been so dang busy. Okay, so now I know that those are going to go together on the back of that. These are going to go together on the front. But now you guys will at least have this tutorial, and it has been asked for quite a bit recently. So now I will feel so good that you guys have it, and I won't be shirking on my duties anymore. And maybe eventually we'll get like a fun tutorial, something exciting. Oh, that's going to be tight. Okay. So I am just dry fitting and making sure that I like everything. I did already, you know, kind of place where I wanted all of my patterned paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this paper clip and put these guys back together so they don't get lost. And then we'll put these guys together, and this should be coming up here actually on my boo-boo. Oh, that one's not it. I know it's somewhere. Okay. There we go. And one other thing about score tape is it is not, ooh, don't do that. It is not forgiving. Like, there have been many times where I think I've got my patterned paper matted on nice and straight, and then as soon as it starts to go down, it is stuck. So absolutely stuck. And I have just learned to be like, well, it is what it is. Nothing I can do about it now, and I'm not going to rip my project apart over it. Oh, is this the one? Just don't know where my boo-boo is. Yep, okay. So, all right. See, you guys can see I told you it wasn't gonna happen. So this side, you can see along the edges, this is definitely crooked. But for sure, this side of the gold is much thicker than this side of the gold. And I knew I had done this on a couple of my little flat pages where I cut my pattern paper like too short for some reason. So what we'll do is we'll turn these probably into some little like patterned pockets. Like I have the little like strippy ones, and we can just go over like this, and nobody will ever know that we cut it short, and it'll like make all the borders like, except for, I just put it down wrong or off. And so like we'll just go ahead and clean that up and have a cute little tuck spot there, and nobody will ever know that they were off. Easy as pie. Okay, so now that we got this all at least matted, we don't, well, I guess we can go ahead and mat these onto the flap. Don't always do it in this order. Sometimes I like to change my mind, but for the heck of it. And you guys can see again, I had my measurements on there. I wasn't joking, because that way I knew what went where for my my gold mats. And I am really slow at putting them down. Just burnish a little. And part of my reason for trying to like make some of these decisions and stuff, I like told you guys I would do it on, 2 times the speed and it would be fine. I just felt like it was going to make the video so, okay, real fast pause here. I am going to stop and make a decision. So I know that this flap is going to go on top of this, and I know that I wanted this to go on top of this. I need to decide, do I want my flap, can you guys even see me? Nope. Okay, this is my signature. Do I want my flap to flip out this way, or do I want to flip this way because of my boo-boo? I know I want to put a border strip on the bottom, so I need to decide, do I want it to go here, where that's the bottom? Because if I do this and then I decide to flip it this way, then I have to change like what I'm doing. And so I think what I want to do is I think I want this to flip out. And so by doing that, I need to make sure I put my boo-boo on the right side of my album on my flappy page, so that when I go to fix it, it is not a catastrophe. Ooh, I got kind of lucky there. And see, even that gold right there is like messing with me. Oh, and look, I just remembered. I've been so busy. I was going to go through and like corner round all my flaps. Well, guess I'm not doing it this time. Put that away. Don't need that. Get so busy up in my head. Okay, now the reason we didn't mat any of this yet is because we're going to take the flap and make sure the flap goes under the pattern paper, so that like nobody ever even knows that this is an extra piece not attached to the base. So I'm going to go ahead, and I do not miter these, okay, because this is not required for this to be like mitered, because it's not like tucking into anything. So I don't miter it. I am going to do my little trick here again to make sure that it goes down straight. Now, something I know that some people do is they will put glue on top of their score tape to make sure that it goes down. Like they have a little bit of give when they do it. I don't. I just wing it. I like to live on the edge. I do like to double check that everything is going to go in the way I want it to. And actually, I want it to... Wait, is that just the way I had it? I don't know. No, it's not. Okay. So now I do this kind of dorky too. I like to line it up this way because for some reason it just works better. And you guys probably can't even see me. And I do have that sticky corner down so I can make sure that everything's all aligned and it gives me a little bit of give. And this was that one from the tutorial that was too tall and I was supposed to trim and I didn't do it. See, and now I just press down really tight on this to try to hold it, and see it moved on me. So I just hold it really tight, guys, and try to keep that going. And it does curl it because I hold it so tight. But now, I'm like, see, told you guys we were going to be off. So what I might do is I might just trim this and then leave my flap tall. And this has happened before. I have done this many times and it just... Cautionary tale. Let's get the tiny scissors out. Like, nobody will ever know that this is like this if they're, this will give it away. So we're just going to do a little trimming. Yep, okay, there we go. All right, so the only reason you'll know is when you open this will be off a little bit, but it's much less obvious what is happening. All right, so now that we got the flap on, we can put our pages back on. And because the measurements on this guy, I have a hard time paying attention to what direction they go. I am sitting on my foot. It's going to sleep, so we're going to have to readjust. Okay, is that the right direction? Yep. All right. Now this will probably be really tight because we just trimmed part of that off. All right. It's down. This was also part of why I wanted the flap to go this way, was because I knew it was probably going to do this little number on me. And normally I like to put like magnets or something here to keep this. So it's just a little, this will help it at least stay a little bit better when it's closed. So it's not, doing this number too bad. Which we might be able to soften this up a little bit. Yeah, it's a little better. Or I tell myself that. All right, let's flip this guy over. Readjust on my foot. Okay, and just keep on going here. And then we'll do the exact same thing one more time to put this other signature together, and then I'll show you how we stick it in the book, because as you can tell, like, we're putting the signatures together and they are not in the book. I have kind of learned to love doing that last. All right, I'm gonna go through, give everything a nice good burnish. Make sure everybody is all happy. And something we still didn't do in the first half of the video was we didn't make the inserts. So that's something else we still need to do. And I haven't even picked out a ribbon yet. So we've got one signature down. Before I put it over, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to put my tape down. One last round of the tape. Okay, I'm going to set that to the side. And we'll grab our other one and just keep going here. So we're going to do the exact same thing. Yeah. Just take it off. Take that paper clip off. So, how are y'all doing? How's the holidays treating you guys so far? Or at least the holiday season. I'm trying to not embrace the crazy because it always feels like it turns into a ridiculous, crazy disaster before I know it. Because I really like to enjoy the season, but also know that what makes it so good is because it is busy. All right. Got that one down, and I am itching to just do a bunch of Christmas crafts. And I end up, it seems like every season, either getting too busy that I can't craft, don't craft, telling myself I'm going to make homemade gifts, and I want them to be gifts that people enjoy, like all year long. They're not just Christmas gifts, because that is something that just, okay, hang on, I'm having a really hard time seeing this one. Is it supposed to go this way? No. I have a really hard time, like if you buy somebody or you make somebody a gift and it is Christmas themed, and they don't like, if you don't get to give it to them until Christmas Day, they don't get to enjoy it all season. And so it's like really hard for me sometimes to like justify doing that. So I'm having a hard time because all I want to do is make some really fun like Christmas crafts, especially since we're doing my What's in My Stash series. Like I'm falling in love with all my paper all over again. All right, so now that we're going to construct this other signature, let's do it better this time. Maybe not right, but at least better. So I want the flap to close. So I am going to put score tape on my flap. You can use glue. Always up to you and your preference. I'm going to use my score tape. Now, I'm going to remember this time that I wanted here next to the hinge, because I already have my hinge taped, I want this closed. So I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to put a little bead, stream, whatever you want to call it, of glue right along, not on my 1/4 inch L-hinge, but the score right next to it. I know it's black, so it's really hard to tell. But I have my hinge with my score that is not, my little 1/4 inch does not have any tape on it. My tape is on my half. My score is there with my 1/4 for my L-hinge, then my bead of glue. And I do run it all the way from bottom to top. And then I'm going to do my little flap on my score tape. And then I'm going to close this down. I am going to close along the glue side first and burnish. Make sure this is all nice and put down as much as it will go. I'm going to make sure that this seam down here, this score line, is nice and flush. Because again, this all helps this pocket stay nice and tight. Now I can see my score tape right here. I'm going to hold where it's already touching. And I'm going to start to peel my tape back, maybe. There we go. Okay, and as it goes, I'm just going to try so hard to keep this thing as flush as possible. And it is tearing. Didn't play very nice. Now did it. All right, try again. So he's on there nice and tight. Just keep trying to keep the air out of it. I know that probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but it helps keep the bubble out so that this lays flat. See how nice and like flat that is? Because I'm telling you, there's been times that I've done it and ended up with huge bubbles or like way too big a gusset so that my pages are super floppy. All right, don't hate that. I don't love it. So we're going to do a little bit of trimming. All right, here we go. And while we're at it, I wanted this on the front. And the last signature that I just put together, the paper was not super orientation bounded, but you do kind of want to make up your mind to what you're doing. So when you do get to paper that has a certain orientation to it, you don't put it on upside down. So I want my L-Hinge to go this way. I know I want it in the book this way. Oh, I need to trim that too. Code, please. That doesn't look very good. It's off by a little. Did I cut it? Nope. Good job. Good job. Okay. Hold, please. All good. So I know I want it to go this way, and I know it's going to flip this way. I always want my hinge to go behind, so I'm thinking about the way it's going to flip in the book. So that means I want this one to go this way. One moment, please. While I get us all aligned here. Oh, this is off. Oh well, it's down. We use score tape. All right. Now remember, when we get to the back of it, you don't want to put this down yet until I've got my hinge down. So I'm going to grab my little buddy here, and we'll start working on this. Okay, and I want it to flip out because, again, when I do these books, I do not bother with rethinking, redoing the signatures. I just duplicate them, and they go great. These are nice, simple albums to sell at craft fairs. One, they go great. Whoa, that's the worst sentence I've ever made. One, they are great for using up your scrap chipboard. If you've been hanging around here for a little bit, all of these are made from my scrap chipboard. I cleaned my craft room, which I know that you just moved on me, you stinker. I cleaned my craft room, and I know that series is super long overdue and neglected. We will finish it. I keep saying that. I mean it. But I went through my chipboard drawer and had all of these like odd sizes by, 12 or 11 or something. And so I was like, this is ridiculous. These are great covers. Like, they will match. I can just cut them in half and they will make covers for albums. And then if there's like little smidgens, little sizes left over, I can use those for the spine. Like, there's absolutely no reason I need these half, 12 by 12 chunks of chipboard left around. It's ridiculous. Ooh, we're going to have a pocket on the inside on this one. Or can I flip this? No, we'll just do it on the back. Y'all will see what I'm saying in a minute. So anyways, all of these little mini albums I've been making, I've been creating from scrap chipboard, which is why the measurements are so funny on these. And So that means like you can just use your scrap chipboard to make these little mini albums so that you could use up your scrap chipboard. Reason number 2 that these are amazing is they are so simple to make. Like once you kind of get your formula down, they go really quick. Third reason they're amazing is because you can use an entire 6x6. Like I have very little left of this 6x6 pad. Like you can use pretty much a standard 24-page 6x6, and you use the whole thing. Stop and think for a minute. So you get a bunch of your stuff all used up. And then they are very user-friendly to sell at craft fairs. Don't like where that landed. I had the best luck with these at craft fairs because they're not overwhelming. So like they end up being very popular for people just to be like, oh, I get it. I just put pictures in it. And it doesn't have all of the flips and flaps that us crafters are, we love to do, and we love to make our big albums. But it just is very difficult sometimes for non-crafters to understand. And so these have gone over very well the last couple of years as far as them being simple. And I think I sold every single one of these at my craft fair that I had. Again, because they were so user-friendly. All right, I'm going to do my dorky mount again. And again, I'm not following my own advice. I'm not starting in the corner I should be, because I should have pulled the tape from my left. Why? Because that's just the way my brain works. All right, buddy, away we go. All right, he's a little tall too. So my suggestion is if you're going to follow these exact same measures, keep in mind that we had our pages, our flaps were a little tall. So you might want to just trim a smidgen off of the measures that I'm going to give you guys, because I do have all of the measures all nice and clean for you guys, cleanly written. Being a moron. There we go. You gotta do what you gotta do. So just keep that in mind, that those flaps were a little tall. Okay. So anyways, those are like my list of 4, 5, some odd reasons that these albums are such a nice, good thing to do. And I've really enjoyed them because I feel like I said, they go so quick to construct that I feel good. Like I've accomplished a project and it didn't take me 3 months with everything else that's on my plate. So it's nice to be like, oh, I can just, power through a bunch of these, and I get to use paper that I love and haven't seen or gotten to use. Getting through all of my 6x6s. So, all right, there we go. We've got our 2 signatures done. So now what we need to do is kind of finish the construction of the base here, so then we can put these in. And I am going to do the very front of the cover last. So what we need to do is, I've already got like my matting all picked out. When we go to do the L-Hinge, this is what's different about doing an L-Hinge than any other, like the accordion styles, is you could just lay your signatures down, especially because this one is black. These just lay right on top of the spine. Okay, so what we do want to do, or I suggest that you do, is that you cover them with a piece of cardstock. I've seen lately, and I'm very excited to try it at some point, I have seen some crafters, Carolina over at Carolina's Crafts, she has covered the entire base of her album with one sheet of like pattern paper, and it's so cute. I'm like, girl, whenever you decided to do that, or however, genius. Yes. But what we're going to do is I actually think I'm going to trim a little bit of this off because it is a little tall. Okay, I'm right-handed. I should probably use it the right way. What is this? Like a 4? I'm going to do a 4-incher here. I don't know why I just went that way. You guys literally just heard me say it's tall, and I cut it the lengthwise. You ding, ding, ding. Hi, kitten. All right, so I'm going to do this as 4. You guys are going to hate me. 4 by 7/16. Yeah, you guys are going to hate me. So if you want to know, we did 4 by 7. What? That is not right. What the heck did I do? I don't even know what I just wrote. I can't even tell you guys what I just said. Was it 4 and 7? I don't know. Whatever I said is more accurate than to whatever the heck I'm trying to tell you right now. But this will actually line up pretty dang good. So again, little tips and tricks here. I do like to, normally I like to score this in my scoreboard, but we're just going to kind of experiment here for a minute. I like to have some score tape in it. I feel like the score tape holds a lot better than doing this with just glue. So we're just going to score one edge of this right now. And I never do it across the tops and the bottoms. Okay. And then I'm going to center this. This is just my placeholder, to be honest with you. So it keeps this down for me. So then what I can do is I'll actually score tape my spine. We're going to kind of cheat the system here, because we want this to be really malleable, really movable, really friendly for somebody to open and close it. And the reason we're doing this kind of dorky at the moment is because I'm trying to wing it. That's literally the only reason why we're doing it like this. Okay. That one's going to be a little wild. All right, so you can see I've got, where is my knife? 3 pieces of score tape on here. And I'm currently performing surgery because I made this a little bit long. You want your score tape to be, under the size that you're working with here. You don't want it to show. You could, like I said, just glue it. Like if you want to just glue it and it will be friendly and it will give, your life will be good. Life will be dandy. I just think the score tape holds better. All right, so now what I want to do is I'm going to get my, either my burnisher or my scorer, something, so that when this lays flat, basically what we're doing right now is we're scoring this first one. I'm just sliding it right between where the spine is. And you do want to do this flat. I'm telling you from experience, do it with the book flat. Make these little scores in here. Now you can go to town with your glue, because we're going to work on getting this thing down. This is usually the part, I'm not even going to lie, there's 2 parts that really I struggle with. One is the spine and this little covering piece, like getting it so it is happy. Okay, and I'm going to do this, like I said, a little dorky. I'm going to burnish this first third. Make sure it's nice and, what do you need, baby? It's nice and on there. And I am going to do a little bit of this, little bending motion. And then I'm going to do the second third. We're sliding glue everywhere. Okay, and then I'm going to test this again. Okay, you can see it's already starting to stick. Now, did you see that? I just bent that guy over. I just did it backwards. Okay, so then I can slide my last piece of score tape on here, because now I pretty much know all of my other pieces are down. It's going to be okay. It's not going to like hold all dorky. Because I'm not joking, guys. I have thought like, oh, I'm going to do this at a 90-degree angle and it'll be fine. No, it won't. Your book and your spine will be stuck at a 90-degree angle. All right, got it down. Okay, and I just burnish. And I have to run this over this between the spine. And I do a lot of this. I make sure it's all like this. And I do a lot of this. I fold my spines over, or my covers over my spine. And I just make sure that it all moves nice and freely. Okay. So, got it on there. And now we can mat my insides. I do suggest that if you do it in this order, like I am doing, where you're going to put the signatures in afterwards, after you mat and do all your work, I am going to encourage you to decorate the inside, or at least get your matting down for your front, the inside of your front and back cover, so you are not trying to fight your signatures once you put them in. I have done it, and it was not enjoyable. But basically the entire inside of our book will be done once we finish this off here. Aren't you guys so glad I at least did the taping beforehand? Because it is currently telling me that we are at 43 minutes for this portion. And I do not see what is going to get sped up or cut. So you guys have been troopers. All right. One more. Stop and make dinner after this. Ooh! Y'all catch my ninja moves? Oh, I don't love that. Oh, well. I feel like I'm being very sloppy, but tis is what tis is. Okay, I will actually put that on the bottom. So a lot of times, another little tip is when I kind of oof up my matting, because I'm telling you, it's much more noticeable with the 16ths. I'll put it like on the bottom. Something in my brain just tells me, oh, nobody's looking at the bottom. So it doesn't matter, but it kind of does. All right, so we've got those in. We're almost there, guys. Almost there. So I'm going to take the signature that I want to be second. And this is the nice thing about doing these 1/2 inches and doing spines that are in like 1 or 2 or 1.5 inch, is that if you have a 1.5 inch spine, that divides perfectly into 3 halves. Well, here's a half. The other signature will be a half, and then we can have a half gusset. So like you do not have to do any guesswork on your spacing. So we're going to do this cute little number again, where we fold the score tape over. Again, you can use glue. You can do you. And what we will do, again, this is just always what I find is best for me, is we're going to take my L-hinge. So I've got the 1/2 inch, and I'm going to line it right up. I actually want to go this way. I'm going to line it right up with the score line that I made. This is also why I do that score line on that hinge. Okay, now it might be a little bit off. Things are not straight and they do not always come out perfectly. Okay, and I am just going to slowly pull my score tape out, and I am checking as I'm going because there have been times where I'm like just whipping it along and it comes back to bite me. So I'm just kind of checking as I go that it's coming out nice and straight, that I didn't just willy-nilly move something. All right, we're gonna commit. Okay, now we've got our second signature in, and I just burnish. Okay, and you can see it wiggles. We've got that give, and that's what that 1/4 inch like little gusset on the L-hinge does for us, is it allows us to have this little bit of give. And I just like to work it. Okay, so now that one's in, and I do like to double check, like I haven't had it happen very often, but I do like to double check that like this signature lines up with the cover. So now we take our second signature, and we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to line it up. And sometimes I break my own rules here. We're going to line it up against, I'm going to take this piece of the hinge and I'm going to butt it right up against the other signature. Okay, now when you get to this part, it's less about lining up with the signature before it and more so lining up with the framework of the book. Because there have been times, I am telling you, every time I do a waterfall, it ends up wonky. Okay, every single time. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. All right. And normally what happens is that if I try to line this up and butt it up right against whatever it is that I'm working on, it's because my scoreboard or something did not, oh goodness gracious, did not score straight. So what I have learned is I work way harder at making sure that the construction is aligned. See how this signature is flat with the cover, and when it flips, it is straight with the top and the bottom. Okay. So important that you focus more on this alignment, not this alignment, because you can fudge this and you can try to trim this stuff off. All right. So we've got it all in, and it's upside down. But now you can see we didn't have to do any measuring, and I have a 1/2 inch, a 1/2 inch, and a 1/2 inch. They're all there. It's done. It's what I love about this. You do need to go from back to front, though. I have gone from front to back and not had my spacing done right. That is the importance of having that 1/2 inch hinge on the L hinge, having this little piece that we glued down. Okay, so last couple things we're going to do here, and then I will finish the decorating. I want to show you guys how to put the tie closure on, and how to fix those little boo-boos that we had. So first, like here's a boo-boo right here, and I think I like, that's way too busy. I think I really like this on there, and I can trim it to do that. And then you guys, I don't know if you guys caught it, I did end up putting it on the back of this one, and I did happen to keep all of my little scraps, because this, again, it was not a perfect 6x6, so I can use one of these little scrappies here to cover up that boo-boo. And I am going to pick one that doesn't have a hole on it, just because I don't feel like fussing with it. Actually, nope. Really like that. Oh, there we go. Just don't feel like fussing with the hole and making sure that I have to cover it and whatnot. It's just ridiculous. So oh my goodness gracious. Okay. Oh, that's pretty. That's a hole. Oh, wait. Is that, nope, that one also has a hole. Okay. Our paper matting on the flaps should be, I'm just going to get I don't trust myself. I'm going to get my ruler out and just measure this. We're going to cover it up exactly. So this is, pushing everything over. 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, it is 4 3/4. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim these to 4 3/4. And I'm actually going to throw that away. Now I've got a little bit of a ridge on this from when it pulled out of the paper book. So I'm just going to trim that off so I've got nice clean edges. And then because I don't want to quite have my little signs here mismatched. I know somebody's like heart probably just had palpitations because I threw that away. But I just trimmed a little bit off of each so that I had broken signs on each end, and then you'll never know that it was offset. And that's just me. So I'm going to take my little strip here and I'm going to glue it on 3 sides. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of line up here and match how much of my matting was on the left and the right side. So it makes kind of a nice clean square. And I am really, truly just eyeballing this. Sorry, I'm going to do something dorky here so I can get this on a flat surface. Get it burnished. But so we got just like a little tight little pocket on that one. And then I need to do the same thing over here. So I've got glue on 3 sides. This one doesn't look it's near as bad of a boo-boo. So I want to make sure that it's lined up with my pattern paper. I can go as high or as low as I need to. That's the beauty of making it larger than like with a bare minimum that you need and making it into a little pocket. And then making sure that this is kind of like a nice, clean, symmetrical border. Okay, so we're all good there. All we have left to do is put the ribbon on, which I have not picked one out yet. Oh, legs asleep. All right, what do we got? Kind of like that one. That is not what I want. What do we got down here? Ooh, I kind of like that one. Ooh, I like that one too. Looking at my oranges, and I know. Ooh, I got a cute pumpkin one. One of these I felt like was open. Maybe not. That one's open. We don't have any blues in this one. And I know I have one more. What do we got down here? Ooh, that actually might be the one that we go with. Okay. Bring you guys some options here. I think because So these are the options I picked, and because this is very like a fall like album-ish, I think instead of going more like orangey, like this one's really pretty. I don't think I'm gonna go with the gold, like the sparkles, because this feels more like Halloweeny, or at least too orangey for this. I like the pumpkins, but don't love the way the pumpkins go with these pumpkins. And then, oh, I really like that that's not like a white, it's like a cream. But I also really like this one with the acorns on it. Let's go with the, I feel like this will match better. And this little clash with the white. But I can use that on anything. Okay. We're going to go with this one. Not that that was helpful at all because you can't see what I picked. We're going to go with the leaves and the acorns and stuff. All right. And we're going to see if I can not booger this up. Oof, duh. Come on. There we go. Get that cut. Okay, now we're not going to attach any of this stuff yet, but I am going to measure. I usually like to do about 10 or 15. I know that sounds kind of aggressive, and I just use my craft mat as far as the size on this, but I would rather have too much and have to trim a little than have not enough for somebody to tie it. And honestly, 15 might be a little short. Now this ribbon is a little bit directional, so we're going to be careful here when we go to put this down. I always just take my book because I'm on my craft mat. I know this is approximately like 6-ish, 5.5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 height. And then I just find the center on my craft mat. That's literally all I do. If you need to mark it with a pencil and a ruler, go for it. But I always just go, 5.5. So I want about 2, and that doesn't look right. 1 box, 1, 2, 2 3/4. Kind of like it right there though. It feels a little high, but I think I'm going to go around the 3-inch mark. And I just come in, put a little score tape in there, take my ribbon, peel this off, put my ribbon right over the top of it. And I like to usually go about 1 inch in. So it's okay that my score tape is like behind where my ribbon is. Because now, since I have 1 inch here, that means I have 14 inches of give to be able to tie. And then I just put a couple of pieces of score tape on here, going the opposite direction to hold it down. And then I literally, no joke, just flip it over. And I do not find the middle mark this time. I trust, which is kind of wild, trust my ribbon off of the other side to kind of line me up. And I want these to go the same direction. About 1 inch in would be here. And I just try really hard to kind of line them up there. See, they're not quite perfect, but they're pretty dang close. Do the same thing I just did on the front. Tack them down. Okay, and notice I didn't take that score tape off yet, just because I want to make sure that my book is going the right direction for when I put my covers on. So now we're just going to go ahead and attach these covers. And our book, matting included, will be all constructed. And so I hope that this tutorial was helpful. I know I've been asked, I think at least 3 times, 2 in the last week or so. I got cat hair all over. Good going. About a tutorial. And so I am so sorry that it has taken so long. It's just been me dragging my feet. But I hope this was helpful. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments, or you can shoot me a message over on Instagram. I will do my darndest to get back to you. But I'm trying. So, like I said, I hope this was helpful. I will show you guys here as soon as we get this done. My little, oh, we forgot the inserts. Shucks. I will tell you guys the inserts when we do the walkthrough at the beginning. Or actually, we'll knock them out right now. All right, before I attach my cover, I'm going to pull this score tape off because it'll just be a nice little extra little help here. I got to pull this way. Can't line it up that far away, guys. And I'm not going to stand up for this entire tutorial. Just not happening. Okay, go to the back. Okay, almost there. That was a bad idea to do that. I'm just saying. Do not suggest that you pull that off until you're ready to put your cover down. So let me tell you, I have been busy like doing something like this and just ripping all my score tape off, just going to town, tra la 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 la. And lo and behold, I will like toss something to get it out of my like working way, just like that. And I'll put it down. And I am not joking you. I have attached like my good piece to something that it was not supposed to go to. And I've had to recut and re-adhere things. Because I just get focused on whatever piece is in front of me. All right, got the covers down. I'm going to double check one more time. This is going the right direction because this is directional paper. The pumpkins do go a certain direction. I can't do that. Too far away. There we go. Clush. Oh, that was so off. Ah! It's way off. Okay, at least it's the back. You guys see how bad that is? Ugh. I'm telling you, those 16ths, sometimes they get you. All right, we're going to burnish. Might as well just accept my fate. Okay, so don't hate this ribbon. I think I would have liked the plaid better. Oh well. Okay, yeah, these are kind of long. Cool. So we will put this cut apart on, which you guys have already seen. My side inserts, so for my little pockets over here. Okay, we did these. We left these open intentionally. So our pages were approximately 5/16 by 5 3/4. Now, knowing that we glued this piece down, we're not going to be able to get 5/16 out of it. So these like spare pieces that we had back when we did the construction, okay, I am going to try. I always do these as close as I can and then I trim. So I always kind of just do a trial and error here. So I knew it was 5 3/4. So this is roughly 5.5. 5.5 is a good rough, like good. So I knew that I had 5 3/4 width. So if I try a 5.5 width, I'll be okay. And then we had 5 9/16 tall. So I'm going to try a 5 1/2. I'm going to try a 5.5 by 5.5. Now I'm going big. Like I'm trying to just go big here. because I can always trim, but I can't make it bigger. So 5.5 tall is not going to work. And I just go by 16ths. You guys probably don't love me for it, but that's what I do. So we have 5.5 by 5 and some change. Okay, that one's nice and that's a good fit. So you're going to want 5.5 by, that's 8/16, so 7/16. And look, my jelly rolls are giving out again. Guys, I'm still in the market. And this was my height by my width. Now, I will tell you guys, you could make your width bigger so that it like hangs out more, because this is already like, this was 5.5. It is like, I'm not pushing it all the way in. Okay, so it does have a little bit of a hangout on it. If you want yours to hang out further, you could even do like 5 3/4, and then you'd have a nice big like chunk hanging outside of your pocket. Okay, so also I do have the thingies done. Not the jelly roll I want. This is my base. You're going to want to mat if you're doing it by 16ths. I don't double mat my inserts because then they get too chunky for the pocket. 5, that's 8/16, so 5 and 7. Nope, we go by 8s when we do this. 5 by 3/8 by 5 by 5/16. Come on, jelly. Okay, so those will be your inserts. If you are so inclined, let's take a hot second here and do some cleaning. So I think probably my longest video ever. Do a little clean here so that you guys can take a screenshot, and we'll write these down. If you want to make this exact album, you've already, watched the tutorial here. This is the exact measurements for everything that we just did. So if you want to screenshot this, this will be everything. Something we did not do that I was planning to do is to put those little pockets on that we did in the beginning. I'm not going to do them because we put those little tuck spots on the flaps, but if you wanted to do little pockets instead, you definitely can. But go ahead, pause, screenshot. This is all the measurements for the exact album that we just made. Okay, so if you don't mind the 16ths, the 8ths, the ugly numbers, that's all of the measurements and the directions. If you cannot stand those awful measures, okay, this is, if you guys, I will link it as well, and I'll put this over here. This is all of the measures, all of the works for the Halloween album I did that I showed you guys bits and pieces of in the first part of the construction. I don't have it anymore to kind of walk you guys through it. I sold it at the craft fair. Like I said, it took me 2 months to finish this dang video. So I just don't have it anymore to show you, but I do have that video, and I will link it so you can see the walkthrough of that and see kind of what all of these are talking about. But this is built from the exact same process that we just did. You would use these measures instead. So feel free to screenshot these. Like I said, are much better measurements than the others, and maybe just kinder on your heart and soul. It does have 8s, like I said, and it does have some 16ths because I prefer those margins on my mats. Again, you guys don't have to do them. If you don't want a double mat, you can always just cut the extra line out, or you can do them by quarters or 8ths instead, whatever just like makes you happy. But I hope this video was helpful. I so appreciate you guys sticking it through. It was a very long video. You'll get to see, or you have seen, the full walkthrough of the album at the beginning of the video. But please make sure that you guys like, comment, subscribe. I do have actually another tutorial all ready to go, and so we actually get 2 tutorials in the month of December, which is wild. And some other like fun things that are trying to go on through here the holiday seasons. But thank you guys for hanging out, tuning in. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions. You can always DM me over on Instagram as well, and I will get back to you as soon as I can, or just leave it in the comments because it might be helpful to somebody else. But I will see you guys in the next video.